Hello everyone. Razorblade Mango here. And here we are, the final video of 2023. I feel like this is becoming more and more of a tradition where I talk about one of the year's biggest games that I've held off on talking about for most of the year as the very last video on the channel. But here we are, it's that time. We're here today to talk about the latest entry in the legendary Legend of Zelda franchise, Tears of the Kingdom. This is going to be also a first for me because I normally, when we record, it's normally like one or two of us, but this is where I have three people joining me today. And one of them has never been on the channel before. So I'm going to start with you, Sora. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, this is Sora. You can find me anywhere. Just don't look too hard. You might find something you don't want to see.
Okay.
Is that a threat or a promise?
What the hell was that?
That was a threat.
Why is that
You won't find the 3 missing years of my employment for a reason.
Uh-oh. So, is that all you got, Sora? Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm on YouTube. You can find me at SoratheCat, or you can find me here on Discord. Just send a friend request and we get to talk.
Cool. Next up is Richard, of course. Richard.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello. My name's Richard, aka the Richest Man. I'm a good friend of Adam's, and as always, it's an honor to be here.
Cool. And returning for third time on the channel is YouTuber extraordinaire IanWaffles. Yeah.
I am YouTuber extraordinaire IanWaffles from IanWaffles. You can find me at IanWaffles or IanWaffles on Twitter. I talk about anime characters and or video game characters, and I do little analysis videos of them, of things that I really enjoy about them, and get to the heart of that. So if any of that interests you, check that out. And as always, it's a pleasure to be here.
Like I mentioned, this is going to be the big Tears of the Kingdom discussion, which this is outside of I would say the opening question is probably the only one where it's probably going to be relatively spoiler free, but this will be a full-on no holds barred discussion of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That means story spoilers, that means all kinds of shit. So for the sake of time, I've already explained this to 3 gentlemen I have with me, but the way this is going to work, it's going to be different than how it normally is for these kind of recordings, because normally it's just going to be like 1 or 2 people. So, and then just for the sake of time and structure, I have 6 questions plus 1 finale section where I think it's 6 questions. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 questions for them, and they're going to be fill in the blanks. And I've asked them to write down their answers beforehand. And I will start, so we're going to go with, I'll ask the question, and then Sora, then Richard, then Ian, and then myself will answer it. We'll elaborate for a few minutes, and then just go from there around the horn. So here we go. The first question that I have for you all, and this is the one that I will ask to try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, just so it's not, like, so people that at least want to hear our thoughts can, without fear of spoilers. The first prompt is, the word I would use to describe Tears of the Kingdom is blank. Sora, we will go with you first.
Total revamp. I mean, they revamped the frame rate practically for the better on combat, and then they revamped the story, and they brought back a whole brand new world that's basically the same world.
That's definitely one of the things that I appreciated about it, is that it's the same map, but they found a way to make it feel different compared to Breath of the Wild. It's really something how they did that.
Oh,
and you
for
find
sure.
that to be a positive or a negative?
Honestly, I see it as a positive, but at some points in the throughout the game, there were some negatives that came with it being the way that it is. I mean, you play through it, you'll understand, and if you've played through it, you get what I'm talking about.
So, Richard, the word that I would use to describe Tears of the Kingdom is blank. What is your answer, sir?
Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Epic. The finale was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that was badass.
It feels very grand and like iconic. Like there's a lot of memorable things you can.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's pretty much the one part that stuck to my head, and not even my boy Spidey was able to beat that moment.
So, Ian, the word that you would use to describe Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
The word I would use to describe for $50 million is Tears of the Kingdom is neat. I think it is a neat game. Obviously, so for people who don't know, this is basically my first 3D Zelda, so I have nothing to compare it to. And the most the common thing that kept occurring into my head through most of my hours of playtime was just, oh wow, I can do that, or oh wow, I didn't think that if I did this, I would be allowed to do this, or oh, what's over there, or just using the different mechanics and such. So a lot of my playthrough was just me going, oh, that's neat. And so yeah, like I really just had it was like a playbox experience, just playing with all these tools and all this environment that, again, for me is brand new because I haven't played Breath of the Wild. So yeah, just kind of every second of the game would just had me going, wow, that's really neat. So that's kind of where I stand, as a baseline.
So my word that I would use to describe Tears of the Kingdom is rich. I would say rich. This is a visually rich experience. It is a mechanically rich experience. And content-wise, it's a very rich experience. I think this game is just one of the best things that I've ever had the pleasure of playing. And I say that as somebody who was not super duper crazy about Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. I kind of was somebody that always looked like I was on the outside looking in when it came to the praise around Breath of the Wild. There's just things about it that never really clicked for me. But this is the one where I thought, okay, now I see what people saw in Breath of the Wild. And it's one of the rare things that exceeded my expectations. Because I knew it'd be good, considering that it's a 3D Zelda game from Nintendo. It's like, okay, it's probably going to be at least very good. But how much of an improvement it was really, really surprised me. Especially considering I didn't look at a lot of the trailers once. I don't think I looked at any of the trailers once it was dated, because I didn't want to see some of the stuff spoiled for me. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised by Tears of the Kingdom. Next topic are our favorite elements of Tears of the Kingdom. And I will start with Sora. Sora, your favorite element of Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
My favorite element that they kind of brought back from older games is the discovery aspect of, I gotta go here to discover this, but I've got to go here to rediscover this thing that I thought I lost over here. It's just, I like the element of you can go anywhere and do anything, but you'll find something new, or you'll find something that you remember from a past game, like they did with the DLC in Breath of the Wild. Like, oh, that's such and such island. Oh, I remember this from this game. Or, hey, I remember that. You were this, and now you're this. And it's just a very appealing aspect of why they did it the way that they did it. But it kind of lets the older generation that have played through all these kind of Legend of Zelda games to bring that effect of, oh, I know this, I know how to do this, and just it gets that effect into the older people that have played it.
Richard, your favorite element of Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
My favorite element of Tears of the Kingdom is well, there's two elements.
Pick one.
Pick one? Okay, fine. It's gonna be the building.
Building, okay.
I loved it. You can create whatever the fuck you want. Well, to a certain extent, because I know you have to unlock the parts as you progress through the game.
Sure.
And then you. Oh wait, can I spoil stuff now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For reference, the chains are off now. You can spoil whatever you want.
Oh,
okay,
man.
okay. Okay. That final the big armor thing that you unlock at the end.
The spirit that's in
Yes.
the mech, basically.
Oh
Yes.
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 The secret guardian,
Yeah,
quote
the fact
That's
that
unquote,
right.
that you're trying to hide.
you get to attach all these parts onto it just to like make it better. I was like, holy fuck. I didn't expect this. I just went crazy with it.
I love that like Oinuma basically looked at all the crazy contraptions that people could make from Breath of the Wild, and they just went, let's make a whole gameplay system around that. Let's just give people the tools to do it like for real in the game. And I think that's awesome. Like, to me, that speaks to Nintendo's creative philosophy of just, again, like giving the player basically like Ian described, where it's basically like a play box where it's like, here are the toys that you can play with, do whatever you want with it. You have some boundaries, of course, but I've seen some crazy contraptions that some people have created, just stuff that I never would have thought of in a million years that some people are doing with this game. And the fact that the toy box, it's like you don't even have to break the game to do any of this. It's all just there. It's like, if you can think it, you can do it most of the time. And I love that.
Toy box mode.
Toy box mode, yeah.
From Toy Story 3, the video game.
I don't even know what that means because I've never played Toy Story 3.
You never played the video game?
No, I never have.
Okay, I haven't.
When you
either,
say
but-
toy box, I automatically think of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh no, there's some mode.
Oh,
There's some mode in the Toy Story 3 game. Like, you get to do toy box mode. You basically do whatever the fuck you want with all the characters.
Oh, okay.
Basically. That's basically what it is.
Oh, I never knew that. Cool.
sandbox.
Yeah. Ian, my man,
That's me.
your favorite element of Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
So my favorite element is the bow and arrow. This is probably just something that's in all Zelda games, so maybe that's an exciting thing. But I just really like. I always love long range in anything, and also just being able to like take that risk of like pinpoint precision. And so just kind of like the little bullet time mode they give you to where you can just like attach different type of items, and anytime you get like a headshot, it has that ding sound effect.
Yeah.
It just felt really satisfying, and I pretty much just always went for arrows, or like like you'd see like an enemy camp off in the distance, and obviously like sometimes their AI just doesn't pick up that you're murdering their friends. So it's just kind of fun to like feel like a god, just like being over them, and like you use like maybe set a fire, jump into the air and glide over, and then go, okay, I got 3 guys, so let's see if I can do this. Ding, 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 and then boom, you just land next to your loot. So to me, it was just like and it felt like I could do that like with accuracy. Like, it didn't feel like they were hand holding me too much, and it didn't feel like it was impossible. So to me, like the bow and arrow, and kind of like just how naturally you can pull it in and out of combat, and just kind of like I'm not one who enjoys too much like running in and just having a back and forth with the enemy. So being able to stay long range as long as I wanted, as long as I was collecting items and coming up with creative solutions, or seeing like a moblin have like a backpack full of like the electric ones, and going, well, I don't really need any of those, and this would be really funny. So, and then you hit their backpack and they just explode. So, just stuff like that was just always very satisfying. So for me, it was the bow and arrow, and just kind of the precision of a lot of the elements. So that was kind of my big one.
Nice. So one thing I will say is that the ability to attach materials to your arrows and let them fly, or various other things in your inventory, that was not something you could do in Breath of the Wild.
Interesting.
You were stuck with just finding arrows or crafting them, and arrows were a lot more in short supply in Breath of the Wild. So I think that element would be a dramatic downgrade for you if you were to go back to Breath of the Wild.
You have to
did you guys have fun with the bow and arrow? Did you find that to be like a good improvement?
Oh, I found it much better in this one compared to.
Yeah, no, it's better in this one. It's better in this one.
It's an improvement, not just on the ability to find the arrows. Like, if you hit a box, you'll find 5 arrows, or you kill an enemy and they have arrows. It's an improvement on the abilities of the bows themselves, like in their what's it called, durability. Their durability lasts a whole lot longer in Breath of the Tears of the Kingdom than they did in Breath of the Wild. I mean, you'd like take 2 shots and your bow was magically out of fucking what's it called, durability, and you had to go find another one. a hope that you found the right arrows for the right enemy, or find choo-choos that you can build your arrows with, and then even then you didn't never had enough to go fight this one enemy. You're always looking for arrows, and then in this game you find them basically stuck to your shoe, and you're like, ooh, another arrow.
I think the thing that I've always loved, even though it's from Breath of the Wild as well, is when you put your shield up and you like catch arrows with your shield that like the enemies are firing at you. If you put away your shield, you collect the arrows that are attached to your shield. And I've always loved that little thing from Breath of the Wild, and I'm glad they kept that in Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, it was also handy that sometimes even if you just missed with your arrow, you could just pick it up.
Yes, that too.
So it wasn't like
Oh,
you
yes.
were constantly wasting, if you missed.
Yeah, they didn't just magically disappear if you missed.
Yeah, so it was really, really cool. I really love the bow.
So, as for me, my favorite element of Tears of the Kingdom is, this is something that I touched on already, but I just want to go into it a little bit more, is I would say the audio-visual splendor of it all. This is a game that I think, I don't even really know how to describe it. It takes all these different influences from different other established works of art, such as like Chinese mythology, with like its usage of like the dragons and the music. There's a lot of like Chinese instrumentation in it in some points. They take very obvious visual homages from Studio Ghibli. They take, like, it's very obvious references to like Princess Mononoke, Castle in the Sky, Nausicaa to the Valley of the Wind. They put that in there. And then at the same time, they give it a very like painterly look to it, where this is a game that this is the kind of game that I'm talking about when I say that for a game to be beautiful, it does not need raw graphical detail. Like, compared to a lot of other games out there, the raw graphical detail in Breath of the Wild, or sorry, in Tears of the Kingdom, is dog shit compared to those games. But it is beautiful in its own way, and it will age so much better compared to a lot of these other games now. And to me, it's so much more visually impressive because it focuses so much on like lots of attention to detail, to lighting and color and shadow and ambient noise and music, and just timing it just right to where anytime that you step over a hill and you see this new area in front of you, just that like little touch of music kicks in, and it's just that like little, it feels like it's crafted with such love and care. To me, I've always thought of Nintendo as a master sushi chef, where they're like very meticulous with how they prep the rice, how they prep the fish, and it's all in service of providing you with this very curated experience. And that's the way I feel about Nintendo. That's how I've always felt about Nintendo ever since. Because Richard knows that I like took a massive shit on Nintendo when like he and I like first started becoming friends, like years ago. But now this is yet another example of where I really see that out of like everybody out there, I feel like Nintendo is the one that really gets it as far as paying attention to like the little things with the visuals and the music, and crafting and fine-tuning just the right amount of ambiance and atmosphere to everything. Just from, the way the music shifts to this like unholy nightmare when you're going down into the depths, to when the sun rises over the horizon, you start to hear some of the music that plays like it's carrying on the wind and stuff like that. All that is just, it's absolutely wonderful. As somebody who cares a lot about ambiance and atmosphere, I love the audio-visual presentation of this game. It's immaculate. I think it's immaculate.
Yeah, so you're basically just kind of really brings it to life for you, because I'm
Yes.
always for just like the vibe of a game. Like to me, like the best games are ones where I just like when I play it, I can just like
Yes. Exactly.
How I feel about like Kingdom Hearts 2 or like Gravity Rush, where I just feel like when you play it, you just feel like you're at peace in some way, which
I'm
is
home.
like you really have been transported to another world.
Yeah.
And there you go. Yeah, no, I understand that.
So for the next topic is our favorite characters in Tears of the Kingdom. So Sora,
Character or characters?
Character for each person.
Okay.
I hate to ask Sora, but your favorite character from Tears of the Kingdom is. I know who it is, but go ahead.
It gonna be a little controversial. Addison, the sign guy.
What?
Yeah, I love him.
What?
He's freaking he is hilarious, dude. You go up to him and he's like, "Ah, I gotta keep him up. Oh my god, I'm gonna die if the sign falls. I'm gonna disappoint this man so much. I'm just gonna fall over dead." And you come over like, "Hey, what's up, dipshit?
And
Have
then
you tried? I don't know, putting
Well,
a
he's a
piece of
gentleman
wood
about it.
there."
Food, you know.
Yeah, he gives you food if you help him.
But if you fail it, he's like, "Fuck off! I know what I was doing."
Yeah,
You just
you
go
know, so
back to him. And
he's got a bit of a tsundere archetype. Yeah, he's really good.
you
I can't
expected
believe
me to
you.
say Purra.
I can't believe you.
I led you on for 7 months just to
God.
go fuck you. No, the first time I encountered him, I was like, "What is this dude standing over here?" Oh, it's a puzzle that I don't have to be inside a shrine or at a major event in the game to do.
I did like
It's
that,
just
to be
like-
fair. Yeah.
It's just a little side, what is it called? Side puzzle that you can take your own approach to it. Every sign has its different ways. Every time you fail, you're like, okay, I could add this here, this there, and the guy is the entire time just fucking shaking and shrieking because you're moving shit in front of his face, and he's like, ah, the entire time.
I really thought you were going for.
Wait, did you actually really plan this out, Sora? Like all the way?
Yes,
to this?
I've been leading him on this entire time.
So all those works of art you were like linking me to, but you drooling over Mommy Purra, that was all just bullshit. To like,
it was bullshit, and then I played through it more and more, and I was like, you know what?
sign
the
guy?
sign
Really?
He's hilarious.
The
sign guy.
I mean, to be fair, did you guys get annoyed by him every time? Because
No, because I thought it was an interesting puzzle. It's a fun little puzzle on the side.
it's all right, but I got annoyed after having to run into him because I felt like I had to keep doing it when I know I didn't have to. But like, I have this thing where like, oh no, I ran into him.
You
well,
felt like
I
an
have to do
actual
this.
like manager, like sign guy. Can you get your shit together, okay?
Like,
How
dude,
many-
just fucking God.
I was much more annoyed with the Koroks as a recurring little puzzle.
Oh gosh, no, the Koroks are way worse.
Because those little bastards are just like, oh, I can't move, I can't do
My
anything.
friend.
I
It's
need
like,
to get
shut
to
up,
Like, how'd you get here in the first place?
Richard. Your favorite character in Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
Okay. My favorite character in Tears of the Kingdom. I'm probably gonna have to say. I mean, it's probably the horse. The horses.
What?
Yeah,
I mean,
The
I'm being
horse? You're serious? The horse?
yeah, the
don't get
horses.
me wrong.
Okay.
I think the horses were the best characters. I mean, you get to pet them, you can ride them, you get to give them nice equipment too, like kind of like
This is a very
in-game
strange
cosmetics
conversation.
that you.
This
get.
is a very strange conversation.
I'm waiting for both of them to like drop the other foot and like give their real answers, but I think they're serious.
Okay, fine. My okay, fine. Okay,
No,
in all
John,
honesty,
that's not
I
your-
actually okay. In all honesty, I really like the what's his name? Hestu in this game. I liked Hestu
Okay.
a lot in this game.
Okay.
He's funny. He expands your storage. He does the salsa maracas.
You did that in the first game, though.
Okay, fine. I was kidding around the last two times. I'll give you guys my real answer.
Oh my god, Rich.
For sure, these
Is
are
it
my
Daddy
real.
Ganondorf?
No, it's not Ganondorf. Hell no.
Ganondorf is awesome in this.
I mean, he's cool.
He's hot as fuck.
I know why the ladies love him. You know, he's got abs, nice chest, but no thanks. It's either Tolan or Sidon. I don't have an exact reason exactly, but I just think they're badass. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just because for Sidon, I think it's because I just really like I really miss the Mifa quite a lot. because I
Mm.
thought she
Mhm.
was cool, especially since you were able to play as her in Age of Calamity. Like she just like her playstyle is just it's very awesome. It's very cool, and so I guess the same thing goes with Sidon as well. And then Tulin, it's Tulin. He's just cool. He's just cool. I know the memes of the younger version of him became a thing, but I mean, older Tulin, I think he's cool.
I did like Tulin in this one a lot more compared to the first game.
What? But you don't
He
like
wasn't
baby?
a
You don't
whiny
like
little
baby
bitch in
Tulin?
this game.
Yeah, he was just kind of like he was like a typical like kid character in Breath of the Wild. I was just like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, man. All right, so Ian, your favorite character from Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
Zelda.
God damn it, you took my answer.
Well, it'll be different for both of us because I
Okay.
have no experience with other versions.
Okay.
So therefore, like, I have nothing to compare it to.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like the thing I most enjoyed about her was they did a good job of, because again, I don't know how the other stories use Zelda, but I really like the idea that since she's in the past, they kind of give it, instead of her sort of just kind of chilling until Link gets there. You have this really nice idea of like it kind of just seems like she's going to be uselessly trying to figure out how to get back home. But then she actually, it's not just that she figures out a way to get back home, but she makes like a very incredible sacrifice with this very emotional scene of her realizing she has to give up her humanity seemingly forever. And they do a really, really great visual storytelling of the idea of like literally her tears, her last kind of moments of humanity, which are embedded in these tears, and those kind of being the things that are finding her memories and all these things. I don't know. It just made me be like, damn, Zelda, you're pretty cool, girl. So it was one of those things where I found that she was the most engaging out of any of the other characters, and I love self-sacrifice in stories, and I just thought her self-sacrifice was like it really hit. So I liked Zelda a lot.
Well, Zelda was my answer, but my backup is Mr. Fuckface himself, Ganondorf.
Yeah.
That's
They had a tall order giving Ganondorf a voice and making him sound intimidating and scary. And I think this is the first it's one of the rare times that I've actually been somewhat nervous to be around Ganondorf, because I thought they did a great job establishing him as this basically just a sociopathic warlord, where there is not a morsel of humanity in this guy. This guy is just like, he just lives to murder and conquer. And when you finally face him, like, again, one of my favorite moments in the game is the moment you finally face him in his lair. And when you're stepping down there, I mean, it's just the way the music changes and just gets more and more intense. That backwards speak as you're going into his lair, it just does such a great job of establishing, like, oh god, like, I'm going into this unholy place and about to fight this unholy figure. And I felt like Matthew Mercer, I thought he did a fantastic job as Ganondorf. I thought everything about the presentation was great. Just how much of a ruthless bastard he is, not only in the present but in the past. And I think my favorite moment of his is when he does his transformation from the skeletal remains to his like full form. And
okay. The skeletal remains, yeah, that shit was creepy.
that was
When he
awesome.
finally drinks
It was
the water.
creepy as fuck, but yeah, I saw it coming.
And then when he transforms and he has this like little speech about how, you know, like, I will bring peace to this land, I will do what a king must do and all that. Do you think, like, for a little moment that it's like, maybe there's some regality or humanity to this guy, like a tiny bit, but then when he says I will destroy you and everyone, that is what I must do as a king, and then like the music like flares up and you see like the title, the Demon King Ganondorf, as the fight begins, and it's like, oh shit, like oh no, this is not good.
I mean, he is scary in this game.
Yeah.
Like, compared to like, I mean, you look at the previous iterations of Ganondorf, like, you know, like, he's evil, like, but he's
Sure.
like, more serious, like, you know, he's gonna do something bad. And then you look at this guy, he's like smiling, he's laughing. You're like,
oh, he loves murder. This guy he's a sociopath.
I was like, yeah, this might be this guy's terrifying.
Well, then
I mean,
just that moment when the music, if even if he didn't have a voice, the voice adds a lot to it just because Matt Mercer's performance is so good. Like the music when it flares up whenever he's around, it's like, oh shit.
I mean, I think this is the first time in a Legend of Zelda game that I've been truly intimidated by Ganon.
Yep.
I mean, in Twilight Princess, he was a pretty big deal because he killed one of the unkillables, one of the light goddesses or whatever the fuck they were, light princes. But in this game, nobody was fucking safe. I mean, if you crossed paths with him, you were catching fucking hands. He didn't give a shit who the fuck you were, what your status was, who your daddy was. Not a fucking care. I mean, if you pull up at his crib, he was gonna kill you instantly.
I mean, just
and he pull up to you to kill you, just like big old fuck you. I don't like you.
I mean, just the look on his face when he like murders Sonya. It's like, dude, like what the hell? Like, we make fun of it, but that is the face of somebody who just thoroughly enjoyed killing someone, and not only someone, the Queen of Hyrule.
If we didn't know that he was supposed to be the bad guy, and if you went through it thinking, oh, he'll turn good, and then you saw that moment and you're like, oh fuck, we're in some shit now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they describe it in the game that he is the embodiment of a evil curse that's been passed down from generation to generation. To evolve to be stronger each generation.
Mm-hmm.
If you've played Skyward Sword and you beat Demise, he does the curse that he will return. I think this iteration of Ganon was a true down home. This is the end of Ganondorf. Not only that, but the end of Demise as a curse.
Yeah. All right. So the next topic is going to be my favorite part of the main story is blank. So Sora, my favorite part of the main story is
my favorite part of the entirety of Tears of the Kingdom would be when you're going down and you hear the little backwards speak in the beginning cutscene. You hear the little backwards speak. If you listen closely, you hear him say that all like something Fear Hyrule for Link has found the body, and then you're looking at all the murals of the depiction of Ganondorf from the Sheikah, and you're like, whoa. I mean, it's history, but it's repeating itself from what it was back then. As you get farther into the game, you realize everything that was on the wall is basically repeating itself. The armies of Ganondorf come back. Ganondorf gains his power. Someone is sent to stop him, and then they're able to stop him, but he's not truly gone. But then you go into the final battle and you realize I've finally beaten Ganondorf. They say that the Gerudo every 100 years they birth a new man, but you realize that the Gerudo haven't had a male figure be born into their ranks because Ganon never died. And when you finally see Ganon with Foxboy's hand on him, you're like, oh shit, that's where everything's coming from. And you just realize throughout the entirety of Breath of the Wild that, oh, I was just fighting his fucking afterimage at this point.
Richard, your favorite part of the main story is blank.
I told you what it was already. Link pulling out the sword.
Oh,
simple.
Is there something else?
Something else?
Is there anything else?
You think anything can top that, bruh?
I do.
I told you, like in the beginning, not even anything in Spider-Man 2 was able to top that. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but literally, I can't think of anything, to be honest, other than
Just
Link
that
pulling.
cutscene.
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
best part. Nothing beats that cutscene.
Oh wow.
And nothing. You go on top of the dragon, pull the sword out, bam. That's like the most iconic moment in that game.
Yeah.
Ian,
Well,
your favorite part of the main story is blank.
Would probably be the skydiving scene at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
I really love just the visual of falling, and like just the sky and stuff. And obviously, it's a parallel to the start of the game. Parallels are cool.
Yep.
And, this feels like a really big moment. They play the Legend of Zelda theme as it's happening, and like Zelda's theme. Like it's just I don't know. It's just very very cinematic and heartfelt. Like it felt like obviously Link doesn't talk or really emote in this game, but that felt like a moment where like you can actually like feel the character of Link trying to achieve something, and you feel the emotions of that. So it was a good moment.
I must have looked like a fucking idiot playing that scene for the first time because I was sitting on my chair in my living room and I literally yelled at my Switch like "I'm coming, Zelda!" as I like dove down to like save her. I mean, my mind always goes back to that cutscene with Ganondorf when he transforms and you just see that's when like the title, his like character title pops up and the music just like swells. I guess that would be my answer. Just even though I've already talked about it, it's that scene with that music. It gave me chills the first time I saw it, and I remember going like, oh no, because I was genuinely nervous to fight him, which is something that rarely happens in a Zelda game for me. Like I was never nervous to fight any of the bosses in Breath of the Wild, with very rare exception. I was nervous to fight some of the bosses in the older games, but this is the one where I felt like a real threat of danger from this guy, especially after all the buildup that the game does, to make you think like this guy is the world-ending threat, and they do a great job of making you feel those stakes when you're going into that fight and during the fight as well. Next topic is the part of Tears of the Kingdom I like the least is blank. I will pose that to you first, Sora.
all right. Where the fuck did all the Sheikah technology go? You just don't go from one game and then you go to the next and like everything just fucked off. It disappeared.
Oh no, yeah, no,
You-
that's something that I'm like, huh? This doesn't
It's
make
like
sense.
it's like you go into the world, you're like expecting to go to this place and see all the fucking guardians or see the what were they called that the every one of the chosen had.
Oh,
Fucking,
the big beasts.
yeah. Where the fuck did they go? They're just gone. Poof into the ether. We just don't exist anymore.
That didn't make any sense to
They
me.
cleaned them up.
They got rid
That's
of
what I thought. They cleaned them up.
what? They got rid of
But
them? They can't
Yeah.
get rid of all that. Like you cannot clean up the entire kingdom by like I don't know, just destroying all the guardians
Since
like
it's
that.
been a few years, I mean, Richard, you can make like a weapon of war in Breath of the Wild if you wanted to. I don't find it that unrealistic to say like, well, over the last couple of years between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they spent the time cleaning up the discarded husks of old technology.
I get that, but where did like not the Purapad, the Sheikah Slate go? Where did
In the trash.
I know? Yeah, but you'd think that they'd have like a museum of like ancient Hyrule shit.
That could have been cool.
But
Yeah, I'll give you that. That could have been cool.
the only time you see the Sheikah technology is whenever you're going into the tower for the first time
Mm-hmm.
and the claws attack you and you can physically see Link getting distressed because it's the fucking claws of the guardian,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it. You don't see anything else. You don't see traces, hints, nothing. And then like not even Purah, not even Dobby Bobby, whatever his fucking name was, talks about Sheikah at all. They're like, oh, we are in a new age. We don't know what the fuck that was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had two whole games, one that was main story and one that was basically backup lore, you go do some extra shit. And then all of a sudden you go into this new one and there's not even mentioned at all. It's you're just expected to think that if this is your first time getting into a Zelda game, that the Sheikah don't no longer exist. There's nothing to mention them except for this one little village over here in the hills. And even then, they barely even talk about it. I mean, like, where did these puzzles go? Where did these shrines go? You can't just like upheave an entire shrine
And then replace it with the current, what they are now.
and then replace it with
Yeah.
something because
Okay. I
it
agree
doesn't
there.
it doesn't fit within the lore of you're going down this elevator. Okay, but there was stuff underneath this elevator, this like whole world, brand new world. So we had to get rid of it so we can add like these little trees in there that light up the area.
Yeah,
I mean,
that didn't make any sense.
I mean, I would have rather enjoyed. I would have rather them told us that we're going in a new direction with the lore behind all the stuff, than them just saying, "Brand new world, go ahead, go explore."
Fair enough. That I can definitely see where the suspension of disbelief starts to kind of break a little bit with. It's like if they were to make a third one of these and they bring about like a new type of shrine, it's like where the hell are these shrines coming from? They're just coming out of the Earth's core or something, and they just
Like,
pop
poof.
up.
It's like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Exactly.
Also didn't like that the fact that they got rid of Flower Lady. That was the true incarnation again, and she'd beat your ass if you stepped on her flowers more than twice.
Richard.
Huh?
Yes, you.
No, I was talking. My reaction was to Sora's flower thing.
Oh.
I was like,
I'll tell you about it whenever we're not doing the podcast. Go ahead, Richard.
okay.
Your least favorite
Yeah,
part of Tears of the Kingdom, sir.
Okay, it's similar to what Sora said, but basically, there isn't really that much like mention of the champions from the last game. Like you can see some little references, but you don't even see the. I don't even think the sages even said anything about them as much.
Well, they talk about
'Cause-
their ancestors in certain cases.
Yes, but you don't see them like talking about like Mifa or Rivali or King Daruk. Like you really don't hear much about them. And I was like, why would you not mention them? I mean, to be fair, I mean, obviously this game was more about the sages, so I guess I can see why, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see in the flashbacks that I don't know, they said the sages fought alongside King Raru and what's her name? What's the queen's name?
Oh, oh god.
Sonya.
Yeah, Sonya.
Sonya. Yeah, you see them fighting, but then I'm like, wait, so are they past ancestors or are they just like oh wait, no, they were the past
Yeah,
ancestors.
they're the past.
So,
Yeah.
so before
Yeah, they're
the
the
champion.
first of kind, kind of.
Okay, but still, like I don't think they should have just ignored like the champions still in general, because I mean they were around in Breath of the Wild as like spirits, because they were ghosts, they were dead. But,
Well, I would push back a little bit just because the great champions from Breath of the Wild don't really have any relevance to this story though. Because it's like,
Yeah,
what would they do exactly other than just I guess which they do reference them, but they're not really that important to this specific threat. It's not like the great sages where they have an actual usage for being here, where they're here to guide their ancestors to become the new allies for Link. Whereas the great champions, they were just kind of there to power up the divine beasts and be like, help Link at the end fight Calamity Ganon. But now the divine beasts are no longer around, it's like, what would they do? You know?
that's one thing I did like about it, is that they were like, okay, their souls are finally at peace. They
Yeah.
can go to the afterlife, we can remember them in memoriam, like they did with Mifa. They put Mifa on the one where you fight the Sentinel. King Daruk, they put him on the stone wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then Rivali's Gale. I mean, Rivali, they talk about him as an inspiration for Tulip to finally get his basically Rivali's Gale, and then Riju, she talks about her ancestor and how she needs to be as great as she was, that she needs to help protect her people. They bring it up, but they also are like their souls can rest now. We don't need to be talking about them so much.
I don't know. I miss their presence. I don't know. Maybe I just
And
have
that's
an
fair.
attachment. It's probably
Fair,
I might
that's
just
fair.
have an attachment towards them because I mean, I didn't just keep in mind. I didn't just see them in Breath of the Wild. I mean, when I was playing Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, like you got to play as them. So
Yeah,
I guess
you got to know them and know
yeah,
what they were and how they
yeah,
were and stuff like that. You kind of built a connection with them through
yeah.
Hyrule Warriors.
Yes, and just being able to play with them as they were alive, and then just remembering that, oh wait, no, they got fucked. They all got killed. I'm like, oh, I was like, yeah, no, they're not around. I forget.
Ian, your least favorite element of Tears of the Kingdom is blank.
Oh boy. Uh, so this is less of a worst part of the game and more of just my worst experience, and you'll see why.
Okay.
So, and you already know the opening tutorial Little Island
Oh god,
is
yeah.
probably one of the
Oh
most
God!
gaming experiences I've ever had in anything ever. I was on that island for 6 hours.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Oh my goodness!
every time, I genuinely thought like people are fucking insane if they like this game, because every time I would try, like it would be like, oh, like, use the environment, use these things. I'd go, oh, okay. So I'd be like, oh, like, should I use this fan so I can do this? And then it would go, no, fuck you. And I'd go, oh, well, maybe I'm just an idiot. So then I try, building some other things. And it goes, no, fuck you. You can't do that either. And I go, oh, well, could I build this thing to try to do something? No, fuck you. And I go, oh, well, I guess I'll try to go over to that one area. And so I go to, different areas trying to get to the thing. And just at every corner, I would try to like use the systems as much as I understood them at the time in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be like, no, fuck you. And I was there for 6 hours. And it took me days to get through it because I was just like, this is the most boring, shitty thing I have ever fucking played. What is this?
Wow.
So to me, like the actual like opening island of the game is just garbage. I could not fucking get through it. Every time I tried to have fun, I was punished for having fun. So that's my
Wow.
now that's probably just because Ian is an idiot, but it is what it is.
I like the tutorial area.
I
It's
did,
probably the best
I
part
think
in
I think it's
Sky.
too long. I will agree that it's definitely far too long for what it needs to do.
Yeah.
I understand that it needs to explain the very like in-depth game mechanics to people, and I felt like in that respect it did a good job, but it's too long, especially if I were to go back and do like a full replay of it. I can't imagine my patience really keeping all that well during that section of the game.
Oh, I just remembered another thing I didn't like, but I'll let Ian finish.
Yeah.
I mean that's basically it. You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm be real with you guys. I know a lot of people like the depths. I'm kind of a little somewhat disappointed with the depths a little, to be honest. Like I know
Yeah.
it's supposed to be I know it's supposed to be like I guess this version of hell, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know. Everywhere I went, I felt like I was seeing the same thing everywhere. Like I just didn't feel I didn't feel anything like I didn't feel like I was seeing anything significant until except for maybe the fire temple, because the fire temple's in the depths. I thought that
Mhm.
part, I mean, obviously exploring it was pretty tough just to get to the boss, but I mean, that whole area was probably the most it was probably the most I guess like iconic area in the depths. And then I go to other places and everything just feels the same to me. Like I don't feel like I'm seeing something like eye dropping compared.
Yeah,
So
Mm,
that's why like I was saying like before as well, because I was telling Adam I prefer the sky more. But to be fair, I mean, as soon as I know Adam hates this, but as soon as Adam pointed out that the what is it, the sky doesn't really have that much
no,
either.
yeah.
Because I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of climbing in a lot of those areas. I was like, wow, maybe he's right on this.
Well, it's not. It's just I for all the they did the advertising they did of the sky. I felt like they could have done more with it.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
but to be fair, I think the sky had more personality in a way. I know
Sure,
that's weird, but
it's more in keeping with the spirit of Zelda, which is freedom. Where the depths. That's probably why I like the depths so much, because it's such a very different vibe compared to the rest of the game. It's a much more isolated, oppressive kind of environment that I'm used to for this kind of iteration of Zelda, where it felt like. And I also really liked a lot of the little details in the depths. Like, for example, whenever you go after you can like look at the map from above and find a wayward point in the depths, because they are connected to the towers in or the shrines. Yeah, the shrines in above ground. And then when you find a treasure chest underground, it's in a very similar location to certain other things. So you can use the normal above ground map as a way to navigate the depths. And I thought that was really cool, just the amount and the fact that like little things too, like the wayward points in the underground are just their naming are just anagrams of the shrine names at the top and stuff like that. Like I really liked stuff like that. I thought that was cool. So the part of Tears of the Kingdom that I like the least is the fact that such a massive and imaginative game is stuck on the Switch. It's because I love this game, and I really do think it's if its existence means that it's relegated to the Switch because of who's making it, that's a compromise that I'm willing to accept. But I still think this game would be. I can really imagine what it would be like if it was put on a machine that had more power to it. And you don't even have to change a single thing about the graphics or the art direction or anything like that. Just something that would help the frame rate, just something that would make the resolution better, just something that would smooth out the experience. Because while I thought the 30 frames per second was, it was fine throughout most of it, I did encounter those moments especially during combat or some more hectic sections, where the frame rate would just plummet into like the 10s or the 15s, and it was just, oh god. It was those like little moments where I thought to myself, how much better would this be if it was on the PS5 or on the Xbox or on PC or something?
I mean, if you play it on an emulator, I'm pretty sure you can put it to 60 frames, but obviously like
and I've seen
that shouldn't like in most arguments cases, like even like with the whole game preservation thing, like even us people, like we shouldn't even be having to go through the hassle to do that, because even though emulation, like, because people just say, oh, just emulate, but in reality it's emulation can be a nightmare as well, because sometimes things don't go well, sometimes you have to go find some files, and then let's be real, I mean, a little kid's not gonna is not gonna know exactly how to do all this stuff until like
but
he gets older.
It's games like these that make me wish Nintendo had released some Switch Pro or something like that, or just hurry up and get the new gen Switch out, or whatever the hell they're gonna call the next one.
I'm honestly shocked they still haven't even announced that. I was like,
I'm not, because it's Nintendo gonna Nintendo, but I'm just, this is the game that I'm like, come on guys, like we needed something more powerful to really make this thing the very best that it could be. And it's already a
Yeah.
fucking amazing game. It's just, it could have been better if the
mean,
hardware was
like-
more up to snuff.
I mean, maybe they'll do a performance boost like the Xbox
Maybe.
has, but I'm like, nah, I doubt they'll do that.
They're gonna charge you $70 all over again to get that 60 frames on the next gen Switch, knowing Nintendo.
Oh god.
Oh yeah.
I
Tears of the
doubt
Kingdom and Breath of the Wild remastered. And the only improvement is like the resolution is better and it's 60 frames. That'll be $70 each, please.
in a few years
And
from now, yeah, because Nintendo's barely they rarely ever look past they rarely ever look at their legacy titles.
One of my many
Remaster
frustrations
available.
with them.
And if they do something like that, like go with a new model Switch or something, they would tell you that it's improved. In reality, all that they did was go, it's the same game, but we just made it a little bit smoother. And if you want all that DLC that you had in the last game,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to pay for it all again. You know, you're just gonna have to go through every single process. We're not gonna reload all your saves, no nothing.
I can totally picture it, given Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
That's
but
the
they
thing.
won't bring back. They won't bring back like Twilight Princess or the OG
Yeah,
Legend
man.
of Zelda.
The
I
fact
mean-
that we haven't
I mean-
gotten a Switch versions of Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask or Wind Waker, it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, come on.
They're on 3DS.
So we do.
They're on 3DS.
We do,
and Wii
you-
U. Otherwise, you guys can't play them.
They do. You just have to have Nintendo Switch Online, and then they
I
have
am
this
not.
little like
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not.
playing
I'm
the
not doing that.
program.
I'm not playing the NSO. The NSO is shit. I am sticking with my game consoles forever. I'm
Not
not
doing that.
paying for that shit. unless you have a reason to and really want to play it that badly, fine. But I mean, I don't think the NSO is really worth it. I mean,
If the Switch
maybe
is your first Nintendo console, I would say it's a good deal, but there are definitely
Yeah.
better ways to play those old games. Ian,
I
do you
mean-
have anything you wanted to say about the fact that the Breath of the Wild is stuck on ancient hardware by this point?
everything is basically.
No, I think you guys covered everything. I mean, to me, the real thing is just going, oh yeah, no, the Switch is old. That's crazy.
It's
Dude, the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. Oof,
it's great,
It is so good.
great.
I
Both of those, the Majora's Mask and the Ocarina of Time versions on the 3DS are great. This final section is, I would like to word it differently for Ian because he's never played Breath of the Wild, but I'm gonna ask how it is, for Sora and Richard. So Sora, one area of improvement from Breath of the Wild that I appreciated the most was blank.
Honestly, I have two things, but the main thing that I truly think that they improved on immensely
Mm-hmm.
was the story.
Mm.
Because you in Breath of the Wild, you just wake up. You've been practically dead for 100 years, and everything has changed. Nobody knows you anymore. No one knows who you are, where you come from, who you were with, what you did for the kingdom. But in Tears of the Kingdom, you've been in the community for like what they say, like 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
You've seen everyone. You've gone into communities with Zelda. You've met crucial characters to the story. You've gone and explored, and you've seen, and everyone knows who you are, who you're with, and why you're there. But in Breath of the Wild, you show up magically all of a sudden, and everyone's like, "Hi, hello. Who are you? Oh, this person from 100 years ago? Ah, he's fucking dead. Yeah, yeah." But you go to like Pura, who's like what at that time 99 years old, or you go to the old scientist, and they're like, "Hey man, what's up? Can you go do this for me real quick? Because I kind of need this item picked up for me, or I need this fire brought to something. I kind of need you to do it now." But in this game, you're not expected to do something. You have the choice to choose to whether or not you want to do it, or you can do it and actually get something rewarding from it than just being there all of a sudden and nobody knowing who the fuck you are
Mhm.
and expecting you to do their fucking bidding for literally nothing back.
You feel like you have like a personal reason to care about this world and help out its citizens, basically.
Yeah, you kind of felt
Community.
like,
Community service.
yeah, you kind of felt like, oh, I know this person knows me, I kind of give a shit about them, I kind of wish they weren't dead. I'll do this thing for them because they're a nice guy. Compared to Breath of the Wild, where they're like, "Hey, you're gonna do this thing because I told you to," and you're like, "Oh, fuck you, go eat a dick or something."
One area of improvement from Breath of the Wild that I appreciated the most was, I want to say, the pairing system is good in
Ooh,
this
that's a good
game.
one.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
I actually liked it in this one because in Breath of the Wild you didn't have anything to do. Like if they attack you, like all you had was block or like dodge. There wasn't like any other way to like counter them.
You could parry in Breath of the Wild, but the timing of it always felt off.
Wait, you can parry in
It
Breath
was
of
a
the
little.
Wild?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you
Mhm.
could. That was the first thing they taught you.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that part. I didn't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. I
It
don't think
doesn't.
I
It doesn't really feel good to do in Breath of the Wild, in my opinion. I
No,
felt like they
it,
fine tuned it a lot more in Tears of the Kingdom.
it was super finicky in Breath of the Wild. Like you had to get it frame perfect,
Mhm.
and in this game they gave you a little bit of free leeway with it. You could be a little late or a little early, and you still got the parry off.
Okay, okay.
They didn't expect you to be like perfect every time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, as far as exploration goes, I really like that there are like more caves to like look through. I'll give it that.
Yes.
'Cause Breath of the
Oh,
Wild, like
I'm
you can explore everything, but like when you just go down through the caves, it's like there's so much to explore down there. Not just the caves, but
yeah.
also through the wells that you find throughout the game. So
Can
other
I
than
can I
that,
add one more?
yeah, go for
Sure.
it.
Just for, I like the fact that they brought dungeons back.
Yeah.
Because
I liked the dungeons a lot more in this one than I did not like a lot of. I did not like. I don't think I liked any of the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild. I thought they
I,
were
li-
just annoying.
I like the
they
divine.
they weren't really dungeons. They were more like you kind of know where everything's at, and you don't need to really explore that much.
They all of
Then
them. They reminded me of like worse versions of the labyrinth from God of War 3. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with God of War 3, but like one of the
I'm
big end levels is this like moving puzzle arena that you have to like constantly solve and fight enemies in. And that's what the divine beasts reminded me of, but like a much more confusing version of it. So Ian, I'm gonna reword this for you based on what you had heard about Breath of the Wild or may have seen from it. Are there any areas of Tears of the Kingdom that surprised you based on your limited familiarity with Breath of the Wild, based on third-hand accounts of it?
Just like things I didn't expect, basically.
Yeah.
I guess it would probably be like the what's it called? The item breaking system.
Oh, the durability or the
Yeah, the durability.
okay.
Because I didn't find it like really a problem at all. Like at least in like this game. Because I just always felt like it was encouraging me to kind of go like, nah, like don't worry about being precious with your stuff. Just like fucking go for it, man. And so I was like,
Mhm.
okay. And then I always felt like I could always find new cool things. It just kind of felt like, oh, okay. Like why not find like because like it's not like the game's hard. So like it's like it was like kind of just like think of new creative ways to like do something cool, basically, rather than me feeling like, oh man, I know it's going to get really serious at a certain point, so I really need to save this. It just kind of felt like the game was going, no, man, just experiment and have fun. So I guess that's what I would say is I expected to just like that a lot more, but no,
Mhm.
I thought it was perfectly fine.
I thought that's interesting that you mentioned that because that actually does feed into my answer, which the one area of improvement from Breath of the Wild I appreciated was the powers, which the ability to fuse items to your sword or your arrows, that to me solves a big problem with the durability that I had in Breath of the Wild, because it always felt like whenever I would get a new weapon, there was always that feeling of, oh, this will just break anyway in Breath of the Wild. And it never really felt exciting to get a new weapon. But because of the powers the powers that you're given, especially the fusion system, that basically solved all of my issues with the durability, because you could just continually use various materials or other like more powerful things to your weapons, and you could just play around with creating these like weirdo broken weapons. I mean, they'll still break, but the durability is nowhere near as bad as it was in Breath of the Wild. And the fact that you can just find it's a lot easier to find weapons and really good materials in Tears of the Kingdom compared to Breath of the Wild. And I think probably the most genius addition to the powers is the ability to fly through the roof of whatever kind of building or cave you're in. And like, what's that power called? It's the it's the one where you
Ascend.
like
Ascend.
That's right. Thank you.
Oh,
So
yeah, that one.
that I love. I think that's a genius ability, because that, from what I understand, that was a debug feature while they were building the game, and it was a way for the developers to just quickly get out of caves while they were designing them or playing around with them. And they basically kind of realized, oh, this is way more fun than just making the player trek through the cave again in order to leave. So they added that debug feature into the game and tweaked the world to be able to handle you just being given the ability to fly through the roof of whatever you're in. And I loved that. I thought the ascend ability was amazing. I loved it. And of course the things like the ultra hand, which is great. Compared to Breath of the Wild, where I felt like the powers in that game were just not really that fun to play around with, or the physics of them were really strange and finicky, I felt like the powers in Tears of the Kingdom were such a massive improvement that I don't know if I would ever be able to go back to Breath of the Wild and have the same kind of fun that I had with it before Tears of the Kingdom. And just the fact that, again, the powers, when they come into play, where rather than they had enough consideration for the fun, preserving the fun of the experience, that they just threw in a debug feature that they themselves were tinkering around with, and thought, rather than making this experience more frustrating for our players, let's just work that much harder to make the game more fun and give them this ability. All right. As we're reaching the end of our conversation, I'm gonna ask for closing thoughts from everybody. So, Sora, closing thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, in my personal opinion, it was a good game. There was room for improvement, room to make it a next gen game that could be played on previous gen consoles. But for the time that we got it, and the time that we experienced just going through exploring Hyrule, not being included into like a mission based area of the game, it was exceeded my expectations for Nintendo, just basically being like, Breath of the Wild did so good, we need to bring back Link and Zelda to Electric Boogaloo. But all in all, it's a good game. There's room for improvement. They improved quite a bit, but there's some things that they should have just left out, and some things that they should have just brought. And we're not game developers. We can't change what we experience through the game, but we can experience the emotions, the ability, the just overall experience of the game. And if you choose to enjoy it, you choose to enjoy it. If not, if not. But personally, I thoroughly enjoyed this game for it being the second open world 3D Legend of Zelda game that has ever been released, and they've got room for improvement. I can't wait to see what they do for the next one, or if there even is a next one in the works.
They already confirmed that they're kind of done with this open world. Like,
Really, that's not what I heard.
that's
That
what you didn't see on Numa. He said something.
Yeah, he said that people don't want linear Zelda games anymore, and I'm like, I don't know about that, buddy.
yeah.
I miss linear Zelda games, to be honest.
That's why I was a little iffy by what he said. So
I mean, I could have swore he said that they were done. Tears of the Kingdom was like the last. Was like the
well, he said that this was the last like iteration of this
Yeah.
storyline of Zelda, but he wants to do more open Zelda games in the future. And I think he says something along the lines of players don't want to go back to linear Zelda games.
I disagree.
And I went, Oh. Yeah, he said, thinks linear games are games of the past. That's like a direct quote from him. And I go,
Oh no.
I don't know about
at
that, buddy.
Yeah.
At this point, he's kind of right, because the new generation, they love open world that they can go explore, but they don't remember the excitement of going through a level and being like, oh, I finally beat it. I finally got through this level, and I don't have to go out in the world and find all this shit just to grind, just to be able to finally get through this level. You actually have to use your brain.
Yeah. So here's one of the things he said was, it's interesting when I hear people say I miss traditional linear Zelda, because I'm wondering, why do you want to go back to a type of game where you're more limited or more restricted in the types of things or ways you can play? Which I get the point that he's trying to make, but I think I'm, especially like these days, since I'm an old man basically,
Yeah,
I would like more curated linear experiences.
I want more shorter games, to be honest.
And as much as I love Tears of the Kingdom, I don't want every Zelda to be like Tears of the Kingdom.
No, I don't
Yeah.
want that either. I get exhausted.
So Richard, closing thoughts on Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
It's a great Zelda game, but it is not my favorite after all the ones that I've played.
What's your favorite one? I'm curious.
So far, it is still Ocarina of Time.
Okay,
It's still
That's
Ocarina
fair.
of Time. I mean, that was probably, technically it is the first Zelda game I ever beat. Breath of the Wild could have been the first one, but the thing was, after I beat all the 4 Divine Beasts, I wanted to go back and find all the memories, and I guess my original intent was to find them on my own, but then
I hated that
as
system.
so much time has passed on, like, I just realized I just want to like move on to other games already. So
Sure, just fair.
and keep in mind, I didn't touch Breath of the Wild for, I think it was for another. When was the last time I touched it? It might have been like 2018. So I didn't touch it for
Oh
like
my god.
years. So I left the game unfinished. It's like I was almost done with it, but I just
Mhm.
never went back to it for years. And then finally, I go back to it. I was honestly too lazy to even like go find everything by myself, by my own. I was just like, I honestly just looked everything up at that point, because I honestly don't like that at this point. And this point in my life, no, you guys gotta, I need, if I'm gonna go out searching for stuff like this, like, I don't know, I need like a direction to go to. I don't want to like have it to be something like that.
So open ended.
Yes, basically. Yeah.
Ian, closing
Yes.
thoughts on
Closing thoughts.
Tears of the Kingdom.
For me, like I said, I think the way I started is kind of the way I want to end it. Is I thought the game was neat. Like I didn't come away from it thinking it was the best game ever or anything like that, but I did come away from it going like, yeah, no, this is kind of like, it's that Nintendo polish that you expect. And so I play with it kind of how I do most of their games, where if you guys don't know, I'm not a big Nintendo guy. Not that I dislike them, but like, for example, Mario. I don't love Mario, but I play Mario because Mario's good. Or, a lot of their games are just well-made games. And so that kind of felt like this was that for Zelda, where I'm just like, yeah, no, it's a good time. Like, I knew what to expect in terms of, like, I knew I was paying for something of value. So for all the hours I got out of the game, it was definitely well worth it. And it was just neat. It was a good time.
Would you? Here's my question to you: Is does this entice you to play more 3D Zelda games?
Yeah, I'd say so, especially considering, like I think each one has a very distinct style from what I can tell. So yeah, no, I'd definitely be willing to look into it.
Nice. Yeah, I think if they were to ever, I'm still waiting. Like if they were to ever put a native version of Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or Twilight Princess on the Switch, I would highly recommend it. I think Skyward Sword is very good too, and that's on the Switch. If you want a more like traditional linear Zelda experience, and that's really the only one you're gonna get on the Switch. But or actually no, Link's Awakening is good too. I like that remake.
Unless you get the NSO. But...
Well, I mean just native versions of these games on Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those are my overall thoughts.
Closing thoughts for me is that this is far and away my favorite game of the year. Like I absolutely loved it. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It is probably my favorite Zelda game. I would need to it's been a while since I've replayed like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask or Wind Waker, but Wind Waker for a long time. It's always been a tug of war between Wind Waker and Majora's Mask is my favorite. But this right now is my all-time favorite Zelda game. I absolutely adored this. This is one of those experiences that comes around every once in a while that just it really just blows me away on the majority of fronts, and it puts so many other games to shame as far as I'm concerned that graphically look way more impressive. I just think to myself, like, why aren't you more like Tears of the Kingdom? What are you doing, guys? But yeah, thank you so much to all three of you for joining for this conversation. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's always fun doing one of these podcasts.
Yeah. So I'll start with Sora. I know where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at SoratheCat. You can find me at Twitter at SoratheCat. You can find me at Discord at SoratheCat. And don't try to find me anywhere else because I'm literally nowhere else.
Okay. Richard, where can people find you?
I'm on X.
Oh God!
Just follow me at the.
No.
Sorry. Look. I'm sorry. It's called X now. Okay, I don't care.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have right now. I do have a YouTube channel, but it doesn't have anything at the moment. Right now, I do stream on Twitch once in a while. Right now, I've been going through Sonic Unleashed. Other than those two places, right now there isn't anywhere else at the moment.
And Ian, people find you, good sir.
Yes, I'm IanWaffles. You can find me at IanWaffles on Twitter and YouTube.
All right, so thank you to everyone who watched, and go check out everybody else that's been featured in this. And that's that for Tears of the Kingdom. Catch y'all later. Bye.
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 See you later.